Special meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, December 6, 2021. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda and/or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comments at the beginning of the meeting is limited to agenda items only. If you do choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to Deputy Superintendent Ramos sitting at the white table. Comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and city of residence for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We will now have roll call.
Ms. Brace.
Here.
Ms. Grace. Ms. Conover.
Yes, present.
Ms. Harris.
Here.
Ms. Matheson.
Here.
Mr. Miller. Here. Mr. Thiel. Ms. Vega.
Here.
Ms. Wilt.
Present.
8 members are present.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will limit my remarks tonight just to make everyone aware that immediately following this regular board meeting, the opening of the reorganization meeting will happen, followed immediately by the recess of the reorganization meeting until the election results are certified and we can proceed with that meeting and swear in our newly elected board members and reorganize. Thank you. Dr. Stanford, any remarks?
Yes, real quick, Madam President, members of the board. I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Superintendent Ramos to introduce a couple of new staff members, team members that we have with us tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Stanford. The board may recall last board meeting, we approved a few new positions that we have been searching for and desperately in need of. Let me introduce first Ms. Beth Hildebrandt. Ms. Beth Hildebrandt is our Director of Procurement. She comes to us with an extensive background in purchasing from the medical field, and we are excited to have her here as we embark on our ESSERS funding and ensure that we are compliant with all of our purchases. So welcome, Ms. Hildebrandt.
Thank you very much.
Let me welcome Mr. Paul Hunter. Paul Hunter, originally from Reading Area School District, has done a lot of work in charter schools, comes to us with extensive background, and will be an asset to the new position Director of Charter Schools as he leads in the organization of a new charter school office. Welcome, Mr. Hunter. And last but certainly not least, Miss Lisa Greitzer, who I'm sure you all recognize, one of the most passionately committed educators we have in regards to second language learners. I am so proud to see her stepping up into a leadership position in the district. She will be supervising and overseeing newcomer academies as our Director of Newcomer Academies, both elementary and secondary. So, Ms. Greitzer, we're happy to have you in this new role.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ramos, and welcome to all of you. We're excited for you to join the team and to take on a new role in your case, Mrs. Greitzer. Welcome. At this time, we're taking comments on agenda items. Any comment cards? Okay. That takes us then to the Board of Directors report. May I have a motion for the approval of the Board of Directors report? Ms. Matheson or Ms. Conover and Mr. Thiel is a second, trying to teach me how to use the buttons now that we're no longer on Zoom. Is there any discussion on the item? Seeing and hearing none, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris.
Yes.
Ms. Matheson.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Thiel.
Yes.
Ms. Vega.
Yes.
Ms. Wilt.
Yes.
Ms. Brace.
Yes.
Ms. Conover.
Yes.
8-0 passes.
Very much. Brings us to the policy report. May I have a motion for the approval of the policy report? Mr. Thiel, is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Harris, any discussion on the item? Seeing and hearing none, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Matheson, oh, sorry. Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Thiel,
Yes.
Ms. Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Wilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brace,
Yes.
Ms. Conover.
Yes.
Ms. Harris.
Yes.
8-0 passes.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion for the approval of the superintendent's report? Ms. Harris? Is there? Who was that?
Mr. Thiel,
Mr. Thiel, oh, Mrs. Conover. So motion made by Ms. Harris, seconded by Ms. Conover. These are not in order up here yet. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing and hearing none, may we please call the roll?
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Thiel,
Yes.
Ms. Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Wilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brace,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson.
Yes.
8-0 passes.
Thank you. That brings us to the personnel report.
So moved.
Ms. Matheson, is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Miller, any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Thiel, Ms. Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Wilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brace,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
8-0 passes.
Thank you. May I now have a motion for the finance report? Mr. Thiel, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Harris, is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Wilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brace,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Thiel. 8-0 passes.
Thank you very much. Before we vote on the building report, I would like to pause and turn this portion of the meeting over to Deputy Secretary Jen Ramos and Executive Director of Facilities Tom Smith for a presentation.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilt. Jose, do you have our slide? While we're waiting, let me introduce the folks that will be part of this discussion tonight. Steve Behrens, standing next to Mr. Smith, is the principal architect at Breslin Federo Ridyard, or did I get it backwards?
You can just say Breslin Architects.
Breslin Architects. Dirk Friend is over here. He's the project manager from Butts. Michael Ackerman is also an architect from Breslin's architect firm. And we have Barry Isid over here, who's our lead engineer in the district when we commence projects of this. Thank you, Jose, and you can go to the next slide, please. So tonight's discussion will be focused around the request that the district is initiating to begin the design of a new middle school, a 5th middle school on the east side in the area of Moser Woods. And prior to that discussion, which I want to say this will be the beginning of quite a few discussions around this project, we thought it would be helpful to present a bit of the context that has led up to this conversation and this request. So I'm going to back up a little bit to 2016, and that's when the board of directors at the time, some of you were a part of that, commissioned and adopted a full district-wide feasibility study. And at that time, the feasibility study resulted in more than $300 million in capital deficiencies across the district, across our buildings. And 5 schools were identified in need of replacement. Those 5 schools being Cleveland, McKinley, Harrison Morton, Jefferson, and Robb Middle School. Cleveland and McKinley and Harrison Morton have been at the top of that replacement list. And I think you're well aware, we've been really trying to take action around those facilities. Simultaneous to that work, the board formalized its commitment to educational equity and approved the equity policy 626, the allocation of educational resources. And that's important for numerous reasons. And one, it isn't just about the equity of resources, it's about the learning environments that our students have access to every day, and where their learning takes place. That policy encompasses all of those things. Following the adoption of that policy in 2017, the district also adopted its strategic framework, where 5 key areas were identified. And when we revisit that strategic framework, you'll see, especially in goal area 1, where our intention is to create an environment where students feel safe, valued, and nurtured. And goal area 2, where we address personalized learning, the environment in which our students are educated and our staff educate those students is more critical than ever to ensure that we can meet their needs. And tonight we're reminded of the physical plant that we have to address in order to improve the experiences of our kids. So in 2018, based on that feasibility study and based on what it said about Cleveland and McKinley, we began the replacement of Cleveland and McKinley. And if you haven't been there yet, we have an absolute stunning state-of-the-art building, Hayes Elementary School, where learning is prioritized, technology is prioritized, innovative spaces are there for learning to occur in every area of that building. And it's the type of environment that every student in the district deserves. In 2018, the board also commissioned a curriculum audit. And that curriculum audit, while it's coined our curriculum audit, is much more than a curriculum audit. It's an audit where deficiencies were identified throughout the district. We opened the doors and admitted there were a lot of things that we needed to improve. And in that curriculum audit, it again reiterated that the facilities and the learning environments for our students and our staff are impacting their educational outcomes. So that takes us to last year, 2020. We came before the board again with another updated feasibility study where our capital deficiencies continue to increase and escalate to even more, about $400 million in deficiencies. And some of those deficiencies we're coming forward, and you're aware we are addressing through our ESSERS funds. But other building deficiencies, buildings in need of replacement, are still at the forefront of our planning. So tonight we're here to talk about the initial step that we're going to address in managing the educational environment of a building that's almost 2 centuries old, Harrison Morton. We're going to be requesting approval this evening to begin the design of the 5th middle school on the east side of Allentown. This request will also initiate our intent to replace Harrison Morton, also located in the ward in its current location. And so let me end my portion by saying tonight's the first of many conversations that we're planning to have, both here at the board, public level, and in our school community with those impacted above and beyond those facilities. And let me also say this, that we are incredibly excited to finally be coming forward to you, the board, and to our public with this option, which we are confident will result in not 1, but 2 state-of-the-art middle schools that our ASD students and staff so incredibly deserve. So let me turn this over to Mr. Smith and Mr. Behrens, who are going to, at a very high level, walk you through the Moser Woods design request, which tonight is encompassed in approximately 4 items, which we'll speak to in a little more detail.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening, and it is indeed exciting. Jose, if we could advance 1 slide. This is an aerial view of most of the city of Allentown, and we're using this to identify the location of the Moser Woods site, which is that green fill that's on the east side. There, this puts the site in context with many of the other existing district facilities. You can see there it rests about midway as the crow flies between Harrison, Morton, and Dira on the east side of the river. Next slide, please. So this is an enlargement of the site. And it shows its proximity immediately behind Moser Elementary School, bounded by South Ellsworth Street and Gilmore Street. And it is a wooded site and a sloping site. The image, it's a little bit hard to read, but we're showing the contours on there, and there's an area of steep slopes that winds its way through the site, sort of diagonally lower left to upper right. And so that's an area that we'll avoid with construction, but there's a bit of a plateau then at the top of the hill off of Gilmore, and then a more shallow sloping area off of South Ellsworth Street. Next slide, please. This is a preliminary site plan that shows the potential for the development of the site. This is obviously the very early stages, and as Ms. Ramos recognized, that there's a lot more design and many more conversations to go into this. But as far as the potential of the site, we're very mindful and thoughtful of its location in the neighborhood. And so as the development occurs and the design continues, we're conscious of the fact that we want to create buffers to the neighborhood, to the surrounding residential. So we're going to make every attempt to keep as much of the woods as possible. And again, with the area of steep slopes, we were looking at the potential of a multi-purpose athletic field at the top of the hill off of Gilmore, and then an extension of South Ellsworth across the lower portion of the site. And some of the key design thoughts moving forward is to create a safe community connectivity for pedestrian traffic, as well as a K-8 feel for the campus, being immediately adjacent to Moser Elementary School. There's the opportunity for well over 100 parking spaces in the parking lot, with a separation of car traffic and bus traffic for safety, and then again, a strong pedestrian connection to not only the neighborhood, but to Moser Elementary School. The building itself is conceived in 2 volumes, and there's a shared use volume uphill that would include an auditorium, gymnasium, cafeteria, and that could sit a little bit higher, and then a 3-story classroom volume next to that, with natural light on all sides via a courtyard between those volumes, so that all the classrooms would have windows, views to the exterior. And then we would also look for opportunities from a curricular standpoint to engage that dynamic landscape of the woods and the slope, and that's presently being used by Moser Elementary School. We would look to enhance that in this new campus feel.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When parents are pick up our students, are they gonna be on the street or inside the campus? So I'm asking because I don't want any more parents getting.
Right. Right. No, great question. So again, it's a large scale plan, so it might not be immediately obvious, but that parking lot that's indicated on the left-hand side of the building, that would have a depth to it that would be afford the ability for cars to pull in off the street and queue through that lot. And then they would be separate from the buses, which would queue along the curb, potentially in front of the building. Yep, very good. Next slide, please. This is a sectional view through the site. So the bottom view shows the existing sloping configuration with the woods. The building on the far right is Moser Elementary School. The upper section shows the manner in which the construction could be terraced. The site cuts could be terraced going up the hill, with, again, in this view, Moser Elementary on the far right, Ellsworth there, and it's sloping up a little bit more, the academic wing, and then the courtyard between each one of these stepping up with the grade, and then that shared use facility at the uppermost end, and then avoiding that area of steep slopes, which is even further than to the left. And again, we would look for opportunities to not only preserve the woods, but then potentially reintroduce more trees in those areas that have been regraded to maintain as much of that natural landscape as possible. Okay, next slide, please. This, courtesy of Alvin H. Butz, is the concept schedule. So we're looking at starting here in the fourth quarter of 2021, going through about a 2-year design process. And that's because of all of the approvals that are required, the careful design of the building and site that will ensue with all stakeholders. Then we're anticipating about a 24-month process for that, followed by a 24-month process for construction. And then we're also looking forward to the Harrison Morton replacement, and then that would follow with essentially the same durations, a similarly sized building beyond that timeframe. At this point, we'll turn it back over to Mr. Smith.
Any more questions for?
Yes.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, so from now till when the school is actually built, did that say 2029 or did I misread that?
2029 would be the second construction phase for Harrison Morton.
Oh, for Harrison. All right,
Yes.
so the first one would be done when it's a little far from me, I can't.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Sure. The end of 2025.
Okay,
So 4 years.
that made more sense. I'm thinking,
Okay.
what?
Good question. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Jose, could you advance the slides, please? So that brings us to our next steps. And these are the items for board action this evening. So I'll be requesting board approval of the resolution to begin the design of the new 5th middle school. I'll also request board permission to hire Barry Ice and Associates to provide the engineering due diligence investigation services. And we will request board approval of the addendum to the Breslin Ridge Federo Architects agreement for the architectural services for the new middle school. And I request the board approval of the addendum to the Alvin H. Butz Incorporated Construction Management Services Agreement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Miller, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Harris, is there any discussion on the motion? I would just still like to thank everyone from the architects and those at at Butz Construction, as well as all of the hard work on the administration's part, putting this together, not only the presentation, but the time and effort that was put into building out this opportunity for our students and an opportunity to build a true campus on the east side of town. So I just wanted to recognize the many hours and the hard work and the numbers crunching from Harry, as well as the educational components from everyone else that's involved. So with that, any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Wilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brace,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Thiel, Ms. Vega,
Yes,
8-0 passes.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the portion of our meeting where we will have public comment on non-agenda items. Again, once you're recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and city of residence for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes.
First one is Nate Moyer.
Thank you. My name is Nate Moyer. I live on the east side of Allentown, Midway Manor. I have 2 boys in the Allentown School District, one at Harrison Morton in 7th grade and one at Deer High School who's a senior. It's my first board meeting, so thank you for allowing me to speak. My my comment, my question for you all is surrounding the current mandate you have for student athletes with the masks. I personally feel like we are at a place in time where our student athletes should not have to be hindered while playing with masks. My oldest son is a senior at Deer High School. He plays on the basketball team. And currently, correct me if I'm wrong, the mandate is that they need to wear masks while playing on the floor. I would like to strongly ask for you to consider that the students that are playing on the floor would be able to play without a mask, while the students on the bench, coaches, if they have to wear masks, that's fine. But I've seen other school districts have been lifting these mandates, allowing student athletes to play without masks on the court. And I think our kids deserve it. My son's a senior. He had to go through all the stuff last year, as we all did. And, you know, it was what it was. But I just would like to see him be able to play, his friends be able to play without that hindrance of holding them back with the mask. These kids are healthy. They're probably one of the most healthy kids in our schools. And they're sacrificing a lot to play. And it's especially for seniors. I think it's really, really important that we consider this. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I appreciate you taking the time to hear me out and to consider this. And I'll respect your decision, but I would just like to ask, I think I speak for a lot of parents when I say this, that I think it's time to ease it up a little bit and let these kids enjoy their basketball season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. If you did not have your contact information on the comment card, if you could just write your contact information on a comment card and hand it to Ms. Ramos, someone from the administration will reach out to you.
I have another one. Tino Barrian.
Good evening. I don't know if I could talk, I actually have comments about the building, the proposal for the building. Can I talk about it now, or are you guys gonna have a public hearing for this? Because I live right across the street and I just heard about this today and I wasn't very happy because we have a lot of safety issues there. There's a lot of problems gonna cause this building there to build the middle school. Why don't you guys take it and send it up towards the state hospital? That's the best land. I'm gonna petition, and I will hire an attorney to petition this deal. Because it's not right. I live right there. We have 4 kids almost got killed last year because it's a one road coming off East Hamilton to South Filbert. If cars fly by, if 2 cars are coming, they collided a couple times. I think you guys should rethink that before you start moving ahead with this. It's really safety issue for the kids. I don't mind having the middle school up that way, but please consider and read the diagrams and send some safety people up to look at that. I will be sending OSHA up there when we start building. I'll be honest with you, because it's safety, safety, safety. 4 kids got hit, 7 accidents last year there. And now you got the parking authority ticketing everybody that's trying to park on the side so they don't stop the traffic. And I don't think before you even approve this to go ahead and draw, I think you should have a public hearing, and you should use East Side Youth Center to have the East Side people think about this. You're gonna send people from Center City up to the East Side. That's not right. Think about what you guys gonna vote on before you start this. It's dangerous, it's safety. Then you're gonna have to hire more cops to patrol that area. There's a lot of things going behind this, guys, before you even think about it. And like I said, I hope you have a public hearing because I will have it full. Because that's not right. We just known about it today. How are you guys gonna do something that nobody knows what's going on? If I didn't get a call from a certain person today, even somebody from you guys, I would never been here and never known about it. That's not right. You're keeping hiding things from people, especially our East Siders. And that's why I come here to represent the East Side. And I do have a lot of pull on the East Side. And that's who I work for, the East Side, my East Side people, and I live there. And again, my house is right on South Filbert, right across from the woods where the deers come out. Please send one of you, go up there and sit one of the board members every day at school. See the disaster that goes through. I got to actually come out of my house sometimes and look at that corner when kids are walking, just letting them, trying to slow people down. We had the cops there before, they did a speed time and they got a couple guys there. please go again and look at that before you do anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Is there any old business to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board?
To the gentleman who came up here and spoke for the first time, is he still here? It's a shame. I wanted to thank him for coming up and speaking for the first time. We all know how difficult that can be.
Thank you, Ms. Vega. Any other new business to come before the board? I have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Mr. Thiel, second by Ms. Conover. All in favor? Okay. Before you get up, Mr. Hargit, the floor is yours.
I would like to call to order the reorganization meeting for the school district for the city of Allentown as required by the Pennsylvania School Code. My name is William Hargit and I'm the board secretary. To date, the election results from the Lehigh County Board of Elections have not been forthcoming. Therefore, with the authority vested in me, this meeting stands in recess until the district receives the certificates of election issued by the Lehigh County Board of Elections. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hargit. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Andrew.